So it's kind of like an apropos, as Cody Rhodes like to say, about the transition from having a second chance, trial and error, to the new head coach for the Commanders being Dan Quinn, who had his trial and error in Atlanta, but also
But he's tough,
starting
man.
off
He's
but
tough.
starting off with Adam Peters being hired as the general manager for the Commanders. First of all, A+ hire. He was the guy. He was the apple of everyone's eye. You can say the guy that was the most sought after GM prospect. And we got him. We landed him. So when that happened, that really was like, whoa, like we're serious. We have a new we're building a new stigma. We're building a new energy in the building, which I thought was electric. Because obviously, with Dan Snyder, uh, no one wanted to go there. No one wanted to have to deal with the headache, unless it's just like, hey, it's just the money. It's too great. You got to pay a upcharge if you want to have me here. So the fact that we have Adam Peters, who will have final say on everything, which is very key. Uh, Here, who has had spent time in the Patriots organization as a scout, and also was the head of I think it was the vice president of player pro scouting for the Denver Broncos both times when they won Super Bowls. So also an assistant GM in San Francisco, where he was pretty much right hand man for John Lynch, and which is great. Really good scouting acumen. Has a lot of experience. I'm super excited for him. Still like 45, 44, 45. So a young guy who can really grow into this role. And a side note, our I think it's Holmes. I think not Holmes. I'm a butcher this, but we also signed as our assistant GM, the head of vice president of pro personnel for the Detroit Lions, who has been doing a really good job scouting guys for their team and know what he wants, and a lot of really good reviews about his scouting acumen, which is what I love to hear. And so I'm excited. Like it's like wow, we have real adults in the building. So it's like, oh, what do we do here? Then with the head coaching search, it kind of went a little crazy, right? So it's
It
like
did. Talk about that.
it's it's okay. Who are we gonna go? I'm excited because honestly, like Dan Quinn was kind of a guy I was looking at earlier on before the playoff run. I thought I know he was going to pick up steam with how great this Dallas defense has been the last few years, and so I was like, okay, he'll be a good guy. Like I want a guy who's no matter what a good leader who has that juice. But then I was thinking like, okay, there's no way we could get Ben Johnson and Adam Peters. Like, and then all of a sudden, kind of like way things start shaking out. So, like we're seeming to be the favorites allegedly according to the media. So I'm like, I'm starting to really put all my eggs into that basket because of what I'm hearing. And obviously with this great run that the Detroit Lions are going on, and how exciting it is that Ben Johnson's going to bring his offensive line coach as his OC. Lions has one of the greatest best offensive lines in the country, the NFL. So I was like, that's really exciting because that's something, he's going to run the ball. He's going to scheme it up. Great for whatever quarterback we decide to go with. And so I was like, okay, this is great. But then kind of stuff just kind of started breaking down. And then Ben Johnson just, as the Commanders brass was on the way to Detroit to have dinner with him, hey, guys, send a text message because their phone is on airplane mode. I'm going to take myself out of the running for the head coaching position. And I mean, luckily they were still also, going to Eric Glenn. They were still going to interview him as well. I get the idea of like maybe just being really of like having that heart and want to do something special in Detroit because the way it ended so bittersweet. Because this team is ready. Like if they improve the secondary, um, and I think if they can really just get an elite young corner, which I don't, like, who they made a trade for somebody. We'll talk about that later. But like, I
Mhm.
just think I get it. Like, but at the same time, it's like when your call for head coach is there, previously, like it's like you're supposed to take it, right? So this is
Mhm.
kind of like a new thing that a lot of people are not expecting. Why he's going to get ostracized about this? About well, you take the opportunity. Like you're not going to get an opportunity like this ever again, which isn't true because we're seeing, I don't want to use the retread word, but we're seeing guys get multiple opportunities to be able to play in who have opportunities to coach multiple teams. So
Especially
that
your
was kind of
boy.
a letdown, especially Dan Quinn, right? So then
No, not
it's
him.
kind of like, okay,
Rivera.
yeah, I'm not talking about it.
Especially your boy. Too many chances.
Wait too.
Because I would have some things to say about him as well.
So I think too with that to wrap this up is just that I had to kind of almost fall back into love with Dan Quinn as a hire just because of the fact that I had my mind so set on something else. Even though I was kind of interested in Dan Quinn earlier in the process, I had a lot of different guys I would be interested in bringing in just to give opportunity, something fresh. And the more this offseason is kicking off, and this crew that the staff that we've hired and assembled has been top notch. And I think some things that really rang true or as rang in my ears what Dan Quinn said. It's like we're going to develop staff, coaches, and players here. And I'm like, what? I've never heard a coach actively say we're going to develop his staff, knowing that hey, if we're good, if we do this thing right, I have 3 guys back to back that should be taking over, who's going to get head coach opportunities. I want them to be leaving. I want them to go because that means that we're doing something right. We're doing something good here, and we're going to be all better, and people give those glowing reviews, and it's going to be super exciting. So as of that moment, I was up and I was a little down, but not too down. Because once I started hearing Dan Quinn talk, I was like, I'll run through a wall for this guy.